in removing stray dogs from streets and housing them in shelters, and by doing so, it has sunk its legal canines into the stray dog menace. Viewers, far too many are mauled by packs of prowling dogs on the capital streets, and because it is the Supreme Court that has ruled, many other states are taking inspiration. Of course, the country is divided, and I'll come to that, but the Supreme Court has said that they want these dogs, these stray dogs, to be caught and housed at sterilization centers or shelters, and that these strays will not be returned to their original areas even after they are splayed. And most importantly, these stray dogs are to be picked up within 4 hours of any resident complaining about strife on accord of the dogs. Now, viewers, most of the victims are toddlers and the aged who can't look out for themselves. Specifically, of course, toddlers who also can't speak up for themselves. They have no voice, viewers. And in standing up for the most vulnerable, the Supreme Court has firmly put their rights, human rights that is, first and foremost. The question we need to ask is not whether the Supreme Court, and this is an important point, viewers, I'm making, is not whether the Supreme Court is inhuman. Clearly it isn't. Because it is said that we don't want the dogs to be treated inhumanely. We just want a solution that balances the cause of human safety and dog welfare. And they have come up with a solution, viewers. But viewers, the question therefore is not whether the Supreme Court's solution is inhumane, but whether it can lead to a solution. Unfortunately, viewers, no sooner had the top court passed its order that activists lashed out alleging that this verdict is callow inhumanity dressed up as justice for dog bite victims. Now, viewers, let's be honest. When people use this binary, this characterization, you immediately frame this issue in a manner which is unconstructive. Because, viewers, you foreclose the option of arriving at a middle ground. So you say that we will appeal this order, that this order should be taken back, it should be withdrawn, let's go back to status quo ante, which is not acceptable. Or you say that the Supreme Court is completely wrong and we are right, our way or the highway, and therefore there can be no dialogue. Who are these people, viewers? Some of them are actor Simi Garewal, who appealed to the public to sign a petition for the voiceless, appealing to the people to help save the strays from what she called cruel, inhuman order of the Supreme Court. Joining the clamour was also actor Sania Malhotra. On her Instagram story, she said that the strays aren't a menace but heartbeats, and that their safety can't be ignored. Janhvi Kapoor, other actors put out exactly the same posts as if they had sourced them from one particular agency or toolkit. Comedian Veer Das appealed to the residents of Delhi-NCR to adopt these strays and provide them a loving environment. Actor John Abraham wrote a letter to Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gawai, saying that these are not strays but community dogs, respected and loved by many and by all Delhiites, and they've lived in the region as neighbors to humans for generations, and therefore review and modify your judgment in favor of the lawful, humane and effective ABC approach, which we'll just talk about in about 30 seconds. So, viewers, I have to say that while these are passionate pleas and they are to be welcomed, and an animal lover myself, viewers, I've grown up around dogs from the time I was a baby. I feel their pain. I feel the pain of these advocates, these celebrities. But let me also say, none of these superstars and VVIPs walk the streets or live in communities where dog stalks residents. Viewers, let me tell you, most of them get out of their beautiful homes into their beautiful cars, air-conditioned cars, and they are dropped at their exercise, health club, etc., etc. They don't usually spend time or live in crowded neighborhoods where garbage is a problem, where dogs are feeding in open dumps or are being fed by other residents in crowded localities in narrow bylanes. None of these people know that reality, viewers. So we must ask, does their sentimental advocacy for what they call their heartbeat misses the point and the facts? Public safety first. Delhi records over 2,000 dog bites daily. That's about 7.3 lakhs a year. For India, that figure rises to 3.2 crore dog bites. Rabies kills 20,000 Indians annually. In the hierarchy of rights, shouldn't the right of a 5-year-old not to be mauled or die from rabies outweigh a street dog's right to roam free? Can we have these binary solutions, viewers? I mean, the figures are astounding, and you will see some of those figures. You can see those bar graphs. I don't have to go over them. Whether it's rabies, death, they've all increased in Delhi also, viewers. Look at the numbers there. The ABC approach that John Abraham and others have talked about has failed in practice. After nearly 2 decades of the Animal Birth Control Program or ABC program, Delhi's stray population has ballooned to 6 to 7 lakh. The rule mandating sterilized dogs be returned to their original location is a logistical absurdity in a city of 1,484 square kilometers. You will have to constantly spend time tracking dogs to their original habitat, dropping them, picking them up, etc., etc. Tracking each animal is almost impossible. In practice, many sterilized dogs are not even tagged properly. We've overshot cost-effective solutions. In 2024-25, the MCD spent 30 crores on ABC, which is this program, in feeding contracts, yet municipal shelters remain under capacity, unhygienic, poorly supervised. Ironically, some of the loudest critics, these animal rights activists of the Supreme Court order, are NGOs, paid to run these facilities. The very entities whose inefficiency has allowed the crisis to spiral, and we must ask ourselves, is there a scam? How is it that if these people are in charge of all these sterilization facilities, are in charge of picking up dogs from various places and localities, that this menace is only spiraling out of control? What is happening? Are we even asking the right questions? The SC plan may be humane, but the capture, sterilization, vaccination and sheltering with CCTV oversight and penalties for obstruction is workable only on paper. Let me also tell you this, viewers, I'm not a fan of what the SC has said. I'm only a fan of the fact that at least someone has woken up and started this debate. The question that no one has an answer to, not even the Supreme Court, is where will Delhi house 10 lakh dogs? And viewers, this is not just a Delhi problem. You go to the NCR region, you go beyond to Uttar Pradesh, to Rajasthan, to any state in the country, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. All these videos that you are seeing are from all over the country, viewers. How will overcrowded, underfunded shelters cope? Who will feed, clean and provide veterinary care at scale? Without realistic capacity building, the Supreme Court's plan risks becoming another ABC. Let me be very honest. High on intent, low on results. I mean, look at the paltry numbers of sterilization centers. They can only, if all dogs were to be housed, as the Supreme Court says, permanently, only 4,000 dogs can be accommodated. There are about 6 to 7 lakhs, as I've told you, in this city. Limited facilities in Gurugram, Faridabad, no shelter homes. Where will these dogs go? Who will keep them? How will we create the infrastructure? Which leads to the hard truth. In some countries, including parts of the US, Australia and UK, unadoptable, aggressive strays are humanely euthanized. It is neither cruel nor anti-animal. It is a public health necessity when all else fails, viewers. Delhi's stray dog crisis has reached a point where the truth has begun to hurt, or should one say, bite. Let's open this up. Let's have an honest debate tonight. We have Anish Gawande, a very young spokesperson of an important political party, the NCP Sharad Pawar party, comes from the state of Maharashtra. I don't want to play up all these dog videos, viewers, but they are reality. And I was saying most of these celebrities are not out there on the streets. None of their children, let me tell you, I know some of them personally. None of their children ever walk the streets. Their kids are not out bicycling or on skates, etc., whistling through the streets with dogs chasing after them. That's only happening to the poor. Dr. Ranganathan and Anish Gawande have exchanged some views on social media, and it's pretty much gone viral, as most things do. We have with us Mr. Bhandari, who's an advocate. His post has gone absolutely viral. There are others from PETA, and I don't need to introduce Mr. Gupta, who represents the Swarajya point of view here. Very brilliant guy who's already put out lots of facts and figures. So we have a very informed panel, and I want to begin with two individuals first who've really taken each other on. Mr. Gawande calls this inhumane, this Supreme Court judgment. Dr. Ranganathan has a slightly differing point of view, but very nuanced. I have to hand it to you, Dr. Ranganathan. Beautifully put. Let me begin with you first. Look, fundamentally speaking, are we at risk of missing the wood for the trees? Yes, we are good, nice, humane people. None of us want dogs to be treated cruelly, neither do you, doctor. But dog rights versus human rights, ire on SC order, does it actually miss the point at some level?
Good evening, Rahul. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Look, I'm just astounded by the hyperventilation and heightened emotions all around on this issue when we should be dealing with this matter with sensitivity and calmness. Honestly, it's not the dog, but us humans who are coming across as rabid. Let me explain. Number one should be against all cruelty, animal cruelty as well as human cruelty. Why are people choosing one as acceptable over the other? Animal cruelty is when you have 62 million stray dog population in India, highest stray population per human population in the world. Animal cruelty is 1 in every 15 stray dog biting you, an astonishing 3.7 million dog bites every year, with innocent men, women and children suffering, thousands dying of rabies for no fault of theirs, bitten by strays that have turned aggressive because of terrible stress and anxiety that accompanies an urban setting and having to scavenge for food and water. That's animal cruelty. How can you ignore it? At the same time, the Supreme Court ordering the strays to be picked up and packed in shelters is also unimaginably cruel, besides being undoable. That is human cruelty. We simply do not have or can make enough shelters to house 62 million strays humanely. Both are wrong. Number two, activists who say the solution is to vaccinate and sterilize and then release. Well, vaccination may prevent spread of rabies or diseases, but it cannot prevent 4 million dog bites, and that is catastrophic. Number three, activists have brought out nonsensical, I'm afraid, equivalencies and analogies and are hurting their own cause. They are rationalizing dog bites by saying, will you ban all vehicles because vehicles cause accidents? Will you imprison all men because men commit rapes? This is crazy. For a start, look at the scale. 1 in 15 stray dogs commits a bite, while 1 in 1,500 vehicles commits a road accident, and 1 in 15,000 adult men commit a rape. Sure, if one adult man in 15 committed rape, then by all means, pack all men and take them away and keep them in shelters. By the way, the same activists who are fine with dog bites outrage at even one wrongful conviction, when its rate is much lower than the dog bite rate. One wrongful conviction in 50 convictions, so why not rationalize that? Four, how are activists who claim to stand for animal rights fine with neutering and castrating strays? Is that not cruel? Taking away the inalienable right of an animal to procreate just because you want him roaming on the streets without your responsibility fending for itself. Will you be fine if someone came along and patted you and said, you can roam around the streets and fend for yourself, but I'll castrate you? Number five, just 30 seconds. Activists wanting strays on our roads aren't thinking of the welfare of millions of poor people who, unlike them, don't live in the safe gated communities but have to walk on roads in midnight and be at the mercy of these strays at all times. Look, the fact is, millions of innocent Indians, mostly of lower socioeconomic strata, are paying for the inaction or wrongful action of a few hair-brained ministers who want to massage their egos. The Supreme Court did well to call this out, but its solution is also wrong. Finally, as a vegetarian and as a lover of animals, let me say this, pun intended, all non-vegetarian animal lovers are hypocrites.
Well, there is a point there. All those points make a lot of sense, Mr. Gawande, don't they? I mean, look, I think this is becoming an issue where certain people from their ivory towers that live in very rarefied circles are speaking with some amount of contempt for the view of a large number of Indians who actually live, breathe India on its streets. And this is my fundamental concern. You see, a lot of them are silent masses who don't have a voice, who can't put out a post which goes viral. And in this deluge of emotionalism, their voices are not being heard. I mean, look at this. A laborer's child at a construction site is suddenly picked upon by dogs, and there's a video there, and I don't want to show it. Well, you know, or there is somebody walking on the street and is sitting there, and suddenly a dog comes out and attacks them. The Amroha today had an incident like this. So, have we lost ourselves in some sort of a, idealism that is only affordable to a very few? Mr.
Now, to start off with, let me start by saying that this is a crisis of care on all sides, right? My heart goes out to the kids being bitten by dogs and losing their lives as much as it goes out for the dogs who are going to be sent to shelters where they will probably die. The unfortunate truth here is, and here I agree with Dr. Ranganathan, that the Supreme Court's order is neither logical nor logistical. I think we all have to come to a consensus on that. It is simply impossible to move every single one of Delhi's stray dogs into a shelter because we don't have enough shelters, right? We can't put CCTV cameras in schools. How are we going to put CCTV cameras in shelters for dogs? Now, the second problem in this is that moving dogs to shelters does not fix the problem. Multiple people have pointed out that you move these dogs to shelters and others will take their place. These will be unvaccinated and unsterilized dogs who will often be more sort of vicious than the dogs that existed there earlier. So the solution that is being proposed, which is an exorbitantly expensive solution, just on your screen right now, it's 1,500 rupees to sterilize a dog once. It's 2,500 rupees per month to keep a dog in a shelter where they have to live for the rest of their lives because this verdict says they can't even be adopted from a shelter by people who would want to adopt them. So the ruling has no basis in fact nor logic and is passed by judges who have not read the science, nor have they read the law, unfortunately, on this matter, and I hope it will be appealed. Finally, I want to come to your most important point, and I agree with you here, right? The most visible protesters on this issue are the South Delhi aunties in their gated colonies coming out to feed pedigree dogs outside their homes. But the reality is, the level of outrage that you're seeing here could not be and cannot be confined to the 1%. Otherwise, it would not be the 9 p.m. TV debate on your show. There is outrage, and we must acknowledge this across the board, across classes. There are people living in chawls, in DDA houses, in slums, who are feeding community dogs, right? So it's not as easy as it seems. And you're going to see this play out onto the streets, which is why this order fails. Because when these dogs are going to be forcefully evicted, you're going to see fights break out onto the streets. You're going to see the police called in. Today at the Hanuman Mandir in CP, there were riot police and the CISF. Should they be doing this, or should they be protecting our streets, protecting us from rapists, protecting us from murderers? I'm not saying that there is not a problem. Once again, I think we have a very serious stray dog problem in this country. But this is not the right solution. In fact, it's not even a solution.
No,
it's going to be an expensive solution that does not do anything.
The other extreme is also not a solution. You know, we have to find a middle ground. So just a minute. Now, you see, first of all, Ishkan Bhandari, let's stop making this one equivalence. It worries me when we say a dog's life is as important as a young baby's life. I mean, look, I might sound a little blasé and blithe, but let's be careful about making that kind of an equivalence. Please. I think once we start looking at it less emotionally, we will be able to put in perspective this issue, Ishkan Bhandari. I'm sick and tired of people saying that a human life is as important as a stray dog's life. I'm sorry. It just doesn't square with me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Ishkan Bhandari, if I'm being insensitive. I've kept dogs, I've loved dogs, but when dogs turn feral, when they bite their masters, those first people who put their dogs to sleep, as they say. Let's be honest about it. At that time, you would never do that to your child. A child might hit you in a fit of fury, but you're not going to take him to a jail and put him in jail and say, hang this child. Only very rarely will that happen. Very, very rarely. So let's not draw these equivalences, first of all. It makes a joke of this entire issue. So Ishkan Bhandari, after that, please, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm willing to pipe down. Yeah.
Rahul, as a matter of law, punishments are different when it involves an offense involving a human being. If you do injury to a human being or if you kill a human being, the law recognizes that distinction. So it's a common sense distinction, and we need to bring back common sense in this. Before coming to the Supreme Court order, let us see what is the problem, what is the root cause, and why the Supreme Court order had to come in this instance. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, that comes afterwards. The fact is, there are three views in society on stray dogs. One view says whether there are 1 lakh stray dogs, or there are 10 lakh stray dogs, or there are 1 crore stray dogs in Delhi or in India, it is perfectly fine and nothing should be done to them. And if you try to take out a solution on that, then they will register FIRs on you, or they will say it's a completely wrong thing to do. The other view says that there should be no stray dogs on the road, and some of them advocate very drastic measures on the dogs. Now, Supreme Court, as is its mandate, has to decide between these two competing interests of human beings. These interests or these fights in a society or in a group housing society or even in government spaces or even in parks. It's not only about street. You see in Noida how many fights have happened in group housing societies, in the parking lots, in the basements. So who will decide in the end if there is no solution? And politicians are not taking out an effective solution, because data shows this problem has grown. It has not reduced. It was not a problem in my childhood. It is a problem today. So the problem has grown. So who will decide that problem if politicians don't do? They don't do it on pollution. Supreme Court has to step in. Same way the Supreme Court has to step in, because they don't have to seek votes. They can offend and they can balance the equities also. Now the second aspect, the Supreme Court order, which is vital. And there I would like to use your platform to say this, because I have heard scurrilous remarks on the Honorable Justice Pardiwala, Honorable Justice Mahadevan, and the counsels in the court. That is absolutely uncalled for. People have posted their photographs, made such objectionable comments. I don't want to repeat here, forgetting the aspect that it's an offense. But even as a society, we should not attack our judges who are trying to solve a problem, because what you say, that a star son is not on the bike, is even more applicable on judges. It's not their problem. They have a fancy bungalow with lawns. They don't have to walk on the street. They have a protocol. They could very easily skip the issue. If they are trying to find a solution, you may not agree with the solution currently, and it's not a final solution. I'll come to that also. Let's not attack them at least. The third aspect, what is the solution? Please, people need to calm down and understand that it's an order. It's not a final judgment. There is a 6-week period. There will be a feedback from municipalities, from my friend here who's feeling that it's a wrong order. Probably there will be intervention petitions. There will be intervention petitions from RWAs who want an even stronger action. For example, Delhi, 10-year-old diesel vehicle, 15-year-old petrol vehicles were ordered to be off roads. In a review petition, the Supreme Court has said no action on them. So it's an ongoing process. The only reality is we all need to come to a solution, because humans were not finding a solution. There were fights on the street. Children were being mauled, or there were animal cruelty. There were people who were beating dogs on the road, which is absolutely wrong. Supreme Court has no other option but to step in. That is its constitutional duty. Give it time. We will find a reasonable solution.
Okay. Let me just quickly bring in PETA India and also Mr. Gupta, and then I'll come back for quick comments also from Dr. Ranganathan and Amish Gawande. So, Meet Ashar, if I've got your name right, thank you very much for being here. You know, I want to understand, because you raised animal cruelty and then campaigned for Jallikatta ban, if you remember. You said that animal cruelty happens there, so Jallikattu must be banned. But that doesn't sort of apply to the cruelty that happens when, you know, goats are slaughtered, for example, on Eid, or castration, as Dr. Ranganathan is suggesting. A lot of these great celebrities, etc., are saying, sterilize the dogs, as if, you know, it's a very pleasant experience to undergo. Do we take signatures from dogs on affidavits to say, okay, if you mess up, then, you know, there will be consequences? No. So can you explain to me, why are you going for such a cruel sterilization procedure if you believe so much in preventing cruelty?
I would like to say that we should not draw false equivalence. Like you said that, oh, it's such a cruel thing to do to dogs.
Okay.
Dogs do not know how much to reproduce, when to reproduce. They can't use contraceptives like humans.
Oh, wow.
They cannot control their own population. And that has been the law. That is something that the United Nations World Health Organization has recommended in 1990, that sterilization, vaccination, and release back of dogs is the only legal and scientific way to deal with the problem of stray dogs. That is what the UN is saying, the World Health Organization. In 1990,
Do you think
the
the UN
government of
acts,
India adopted that.
Mr.
Please allow
Ashar,
me to complete.
do
Please
you
allow
think
me
the
to
UN
complete.
acts fairly in every circumstance?
Sorry?
Does the United Nations act fairly in every circumstance?
That would not be for me to comment on.
Well,
I
you
can
should
only
think
comment
about that.
on what
You
it
should think
concerns
about
as far
that.
as animals are concerned. You have asked me a question. Please allow me to complete. What I'm trying to say is, in 1990, the World Health Organization recommended this. In 2001, it was accepted and applied in India. Bhutan, which is our neighbor, has become a stray dog free country. A fellow panelist said that we want dogs on the streets. No, let me assert that we all want a stray dog free India. But it cannot be done in this fashion where dogs can just be randomly picked up from anywhere and just be put
Can
into
I ask you a
shelters.
counter question? We are all saying
Yeah.
that that's not the solution either, so we all agree. But can I ask you, the people who are supposed to carry out these sterilization campaigns in all the dog pounds are NGOs. I'm not
No,
hearing
you're
better.
mistaken. Please allow me to correct
No, one
you.
second.
Please allow me to correct you.
1 second,
if
sir.
you
Let me
read the
finish my
animal
question.
birth control rules,
Let me-
it clearly says it is the responsibility of the local authority. It is not the
excuse
NGOs.
me, Mr.
NGOs have been given tenders to do ABC.
Mr. Meet, they have been given tenders to oversee ABC programs and manage a number of these dog pounds, yes or no?
There are no dog pounds. There are ABC centers.
Yeah, whatever you
which
want to
do-
call them.
Yeah.
You can use any
No, I'm
technical
using
word.
the legal terminology. It's not my
No,
term.
that's fine. I'm just saying you can call them whatever you want to. You want to use the legal term. I'm just simplifying it for our viewers because that's what essentially they are. They are places where you keep dogs. So you're in dog pounds, you can call them whatever you want to. It's okay. My point is, why are these questions not being asked of these NGOs? Because the population of dogs have only risen ever since this
Because the
program has come in.
NGOs
You've been
the
silent
NGOs
for 20
can only
years.
do as many operations as the infrastructure is available for.
Okay, there you go, viewers.
Please, Rahul, please allow me to
No, one
complete.
second,
On your
one second.
screen,
Just a minute. Just a minute. You made your point, right? I'm coming back to you, Ashar. I'm not trying to
I was not
browbeat
allowed
you.
to make my point, but
At
sure.
the very beginning, you said that 20 years ago, obviously the dog population wouldn't have been that much. We undertook a sterilization program, but the dog population has only increased. But we've never asked questions of these NGOs.
So
Why?
this is for you to ask the MCD. Why is the municipal commissioner or the deputy commissioner of the municipality not here?
Okay.
They are to answer this question, not the NGOs.
Okay.
NGOs have been given only there are 20 centers in the entire state of Delhi to
Yes,
do
we
animal
know
birth control. Each center has a capacity to do only 20 dogs. What are the NGOs supposed to do? They are supposed to, the MCD is supposed to give them infrastructure.
Okay.
This is what the law says. This is what the Supreme Court has
So
said.
viewers, you see where the problem is. The questions are never asked. The court has stepped in to do something, to spark. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan is raising his hand. Yes, you want to make a point, and I want to bring in Mr. Gupta right there.
Yeah, I know Tushar is waiting, my dear friend, but just a very simple question to the PETA spokesperson out here. Do you believe that genital mutilation or castration without consent is ethical?
It is necessary to control
Is it
population.
ethical?
That's what
Is
I
it
can say.
ethical? Is it ethical? Is it ethical?
Yes, because dogs do not know how
It
much
is
to reproduce.
ethical.
And
People
yes, it
for
is
ethical
ethical.
treatment of animals.
This
Yes,
is shocking.
it is ethical.
This guy belongs
Animals
to
are,
PETA.
animals are not
And
capable of giving
no,
consent,
please
so we
be quiet.
cannot drag
Your
consent
hypocrisy
here.
has been exposed. 10 years ago, they ran a campaign on Bakrid saying turn vegan. Their activists were thrashed so much. After that, absolutely zipped their lips. This is the problem.
No, you are
These guys
completely
believe
mistaken.
that
At
they
least we
preach from
made
the
an
high moral
endeavor.
grounds. And
10 years back, we made an endeavor, right? You yourself have exposed yourself.
Okay,
When you
10 years
say-
back they made an endeavor and gave it up, viewers.
I didn't-
No,
Because
I
you
didn't
see,
interrupt
completely
if
mistaken.
you are going
How can
to,
you
no,
say
hang
we
on.
gave it up? Have you
One
even
second.
seen what we have done?
In the
Have you even
Jallikattu,
seen that
is
this year in
ethical.
Hyderabad,
Okay.
we
Without
distributed
consent,
vegan
genital
biryani
mutilation
with
is
the help
ethical.
of an actress?
Yes,
who is
absolutely. For
Muslim,
them
who's
it is.
He has
vegan.
just
How
agreed
convenient of
that
you to
female
say
genital
that, oh, we
mutilation.
forgot and we shut up about
He has
Eid.
just agreed.
Animals do
He
not
has
have a
just
religion.
agreed
We
that
speak up
female
for animals
genital
whether
mutilation
it's any
without
festival.
consent is ethical.
So
What a
you can
shameless
keep
hypocrite
your
this man
polarized
is.
views to yourself. Do
Okay,
not
one
share
second,
with
hypocrite you
gentlemen,
are.
gentlemen.
If you
You
can
see,
shout, so can I.
Viewers, one second,
Don't be
one second.
scared.
The PETA has been very selective in its interventions. Let me be very honest with you.
That's your
Jallikattu was
personal
a
view.
campaign. Excuse me,
And
sir.
as a journalist, you should not be saying something like that, Rahul.
Jallikattu was a campaign that was sustained by PETA for years altogether. Finally, it went up to the Supreme Court. Mr. Gupta can tell you, Ishkan Bhandari can tell you, and Mr. Gawande will agree with me that PETA led that campaign for years altogether on Jallikattu. But viewers, we've never had a similar forceful intervention on the other side. And let's be honest about that.
Peter was a petitioner in the Supreme Court against illegal slaughter and sacrifice.
Yeah,
Please
but why
get your
was that
facts
petition
right.
there? Why was that
Yes,
petition
we
filed?
did. We
But
did
why?
file a petition
Why?
in Supreme
Why?
Court, and in 2017,
Okay, but why?
we got an order
Mr.
saying
Ashar,
that
why?
animals can be slaughtered only in slaughterhouses.
Okay, but
Please
why?
get the facts right.
Okay, excuse me,
You're not
Mr.
even
Ashar.
asking a question. You're straight
Mr.
away forming
Ashar,
a
can I
judgment.
ask you a question?
And if that's why you
Why
call
did you
people, then
file
please
that
don't call them.
interventionist petition, sir? Don't shout over me. I'm just asking you. Why did you shout? Why did you file that petition?
Because you're making such remarks.
I'm asking you,
which are
why did you file the
unacceptable.
petition?
Sorry?
Why did you file the petition?
Why should we not file the petition?
No, I'm
If
asking
it's
you, what
re-
was the cause? Casus belli, what was that?
What was the cause? You're aware of it.
What cruelty?
Was witnessed? Our
Cruelty.
investigations
Okay.
have revealed.
So
what
one second,
cruelty
Mr.
was
Gupta,
visible.
let me bring you
Can
in.
I,
Yeah.
can I, I've been
Yeah.
hearing for a while now.
So,
I've been
Mr.
hearing
Gupta.
for 26 minutes. Rahul.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I'll just address this point by point and let's cut the philosophy out. We've heard too much of philosophy all day long. Number one, I do not take animal organizations seriously, and nor should anyone else, because these organizations are like environmentalists who talk about carbon footprints all year long, but then on some selected festivals, they take a private jet and just take off to somewhere and disappear altogether. Number two, 37 lakh dog bites in India in 2024 alone. Now, either you find me 37 lakh dog lovers who are willing to take responsibility for these bites, who are willing to say, we are going to groom these stray dogs, we are going to take up the expenditure of the treatment of those who have been the victims of this, we are going to compensate anyone who's lost a family member to these dog bites due to any accident. Either we take responsibility or let the state take the responsibility. It can be only functioning in this manner. Either the dog lovers take responsibility, adopt them, groom them, train them, feed them. I don't care what you do, but take responsibility. The accountability must be fixed on someone. If you do not want it, which I know you do not want it, then let the state do what it has to do. It's that simple. Be it the judiciary, be it the local authorities. Number two, please, quiet. Please, you're from an animal organization. I don't want your views. Number two, Rahul, I don't pay my taxes to an NGO.
I have been invited
I don't
to this
pay
panel.
my
You don't have
taxes.
an option but to hear this.
You've not been invited. You've not been
Okay,
invited to
one
interrupt.
second. Let him finish at least. He never interrupted you, Mr. Ashar. That's me, the guilty party. He never did. Yes.
Right. Look, if I don't pay my taxes to an NGO or some animal organization, I pay my taxes to the local authorities, to the government, and I trust the local authorities or the government to take whatever decision they have to. Number three, I understand 1 million dogs to be sort of sheltered in such a short duration is somehow challenging, and the municipality will have its limitations. Therefore, we should start with the areas with high population density and high stray dog population density. It's that simple. You have to start somewhere. We can't be lost in this, oh, the dog lovers are compassionate, they find them human. If you find them human, take them home. Take them home. Take
That's
them
a good
home.
point.
I don't care.
Walk the talk. Yes, doctor. Yeah, and then Ishkan Bhandari. Yes. Gawande. Yes, I'll bring you in. Yeah.
No, it's been a fascinating discussion, including the wonderful views by the PETA activists. But I just want to ask him, is female genital mutilation without consent ethical or not? Yes or no?
I've already answered that question. I'm not going to
What is your answer?
questions
Is
again
it
and
yes? Is it ethical? Is female genital mutilation ethical?
again. It's non-mutilation. You are misterming it completely.
Female genital mutilation is non-mutilation? Rahul, are you hearing this?
Sterilization is not mutilation.
Rahul,
Please
are you
get
hearing
your
this?
knowledge
He's tying
right.
himself in knots. He's tying himself in knots. He should be
Sterilization
Let me tell you.
is not
There are
mutilation.
women. There are
Doctor.
women who have
Why don't you
suffered,
get the law
millions of
changed?
them.
Okay, one second.
Why
Let
don't
me
you get the law
women
changed?
suffer
If
because
you
of
feel
people
so
like-
Let me
strongly
intervene
about
here.
it,
Let me intervene
Why don't you
here.
get the law changed?
One second,
Instead
one
of blaming
second.
organizations,
Sir, one
why don't
second.
you ask the government to make it illegal to sterilize
Okay,
animals?
viewers, let
if
me
that's
just
what
say
you
one
want?
thing to you. I have a cat. My daughter adopted a cat from the street. a cat that had been mauled. And after a couple of years, we had a conversation about whether we should sterilize the cat. And viewers, let me tell you, there was a debate that raged for about a week and a half in the house because we felt that that would be cruel. We'd be denying the cat the right. But several people kept telling us, and then of course there was a cycle where the cat behaved strangely. Obviously she was in heat, as they say, and there was a lot of mewling and yowling and this, that, the other, and some of our neighbors said that we would be irresponsible if this cat were to breed more cats in the org. And these were some human rights, dog-loving, people who subscribe to all sorts of NGOs and their views, and they said, no, that would be cruel. Get this cat splayed. So I had to go to a doctor. It was quite traumatic seeing that poor cat. Had no say in the matter, Mr. Gawande, she did. No say. And we've deprived her of a right that is God-given or whatever given, biological right to reproduce. I don't square with that. It's just like keeping a dog inside a house or a cat inside a house and depriving them of their freedom. Why don't we ever apply those yardsticks when we talk about cruelty? Caging an animal in your home might be a small apartment, might be a one-bedroom. That is not cruelty, viewers. That you are doing great service to the dog. Air conditioner mein husky ko paal rahe hain aap. Siberian husky in Delhi's 45 degrees. You can see a video there from Gurugram, viewers, where a Siberian husky clearly gone bonkers because of the heat suddenly attacks a neighbor who's walking peacefully, and you can see what's happening on the ground there. That huge hulk. When people buy dogs such as that, viewers, for the wrong climate, peta-shata, nobody comes in and says, oh, this is very bad and very cruel.
We have been campaigning against it.
Okay, we've been campaigning against it. Why don't you go to this house and confiscate the dog? Yes, Ishkan Bhandari.
The law does not allow confiscation.
Rahul,
You've given us the authority in
can I
law
make
to
my point,
confiscate.
Rahul?
Right.
Rahul, because it's
Yes.
all flowing from a Supreme Court order, so your debate is instructive. As you had to step in between my good friend Anand Tushar and the spokesperson from PETA, because that's your mandate as an anchor. Similarly, when humans are fighting and the problem is becoming worse by the day, the Supreme Court has to step in when politicians have failed. They have not stepped in 20 years. The problem has not reduced, it's increased. We all agree on that. Now, is the order logically implementable? We will find out. We have to take steps because the municipalities have to report back in 6 weeks. Please understand the court process. It's not as if the order and the case is finished right now. In 6 weeks, whatever is the feedback, subsequent orders will flow from that. And that hopefully will lead to a solution, because the current situation is a crisis. I hope everybody on the panel agrees to that, and anybody wanting to find a solution to that crisis should be applauded, not criticized.
Mr. Gawande, final words.
Only final comments on this, Rahula. The unfortunate reality is we cannot abandon our municipal corporations.
Then
I
take
hear
them
your
home.
concern,
Take
but
them
the
home.
reality is that our municipal corporations, which are responsible for this, are failing. You cannot keep going to the Supreme Court for everything. Just a few months ago, in the marriage equality verdict, we said the court is an interpreter of the law, not an inventor of the law. So when Parliament has passed a law, when regulations have been put in, what role does the court have here? Today we are saying that the stray dog menace has gotten outside MCD controls, so the MCD should not do something, the court should do something. Tomorrow, garbage is not being picked up in Gurugram. We're saying that no, the MCD over there is not doing anything, so we should get Blinkit to pick it up. How long? And I say this as someone who's a politician.
What
How long will
nonsense
we
analogy
prevent
is this?
No, this is absolutely the right
No,
analogy.
unfortunately,
How
when
is
it comes
Blinkit-
to when it
Cannot
comes to
abandon
when it comes to
nonsense.
wanting to ban Diwali crackers, they all line up, viewers, coughing their lungs out. When it comes
Take a
to
stray
viewers,
home.
a car
Take a
10-year
stray
limit,
home.
they land up at the Supreme Court
Rahul,
knocking on the door.
Rahul.
When it comes to one second, when it comes to, and it's funny, garbage mounds, they'll knock on the Supreme Court door. But on this
Rahul.
issue, we are wasting the Supreme Court's time. Yes,
Rahul,
Mr. Gupta. Yeah.
Rahul, one simple litmus test. There are 10 lakh dogs in Delhi. You
Yeah.
find me 10,000 dog lovers who are willing to take a stray home. I will stop complaining about stray dogs. A simple litmus test. 10,000 dog lovers take 10,000 stray dogs home. Of the 10 lakh on the street, I'll stop complaining about stray dogs because I'll see intent. Will we see that
I'll
intent?
start
Absolutely
simpler.
not.
Let me start simpler. If you stop throwing your trash out into the streets, you'll probably have an easier time because you will not be cultivating dogs on garbage heaps. That's 90% of the problem, is this food that lies around in packets that we don't consume, we leave outside our door. The dogs come, they become habituated, Pavlovian responses, principles, they become feeding centers, and that's where the problem begins. Simple solutions, viewers, sometimes can do a lot more. But I'm afraid we've gone beyond that point. We've crossed a tipping point. Something drastic needs to be done. And we can't constantly suggest that a dog's life is more important than a human's life. We'll have to start thinking creatively. It just cannot be, it doesn't square. I need to move on, viewers, because there has been a massive diplomatic incident, in fact, massive diplomatic incident. I want to begin with a series of rhetorical questions. How would an Indian envoy in the United States have reacted if a top American legislator or a senator had suddenly gone on a rant alleging that India was conducting human rights violations, let's say in a place like Kashmir? I'm sure each and every Indian citizen would have expected the diplomat, the Indian diplomat, to immediately counter the legislator, file even a complaint against the legislator with the government of the host state. Isn't that so, viewers? Well, that's exactly what Israel's envoy to India, Reuven Azar, has done when MP and Congress scion Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, without supplying any proof, decided to accuse Israel of conducting a genocide in Gaza. Here's what Priyanka Gandhi Vadra posted on X today. She said, the Israeli state is committing genocide. It has murdered over 60,000 people, 18,430 of whom were children. It has starved hundreds to death, including many children, and is threatening to starve millions. Enabling these crimes by silence and inaction is a crime in itself. It is shameful that the Indian government stands silent as Israel unleashes this devastation on the people of Palestine. Vadra's attack was firmly fact-checked by the Israeli envoy, who termed it an accusation founded on shameful deceit. This is what the Israeli envoy said. What is shameful is your deceit. Israel killed 25,000 Hamas terrorists. The terrible cost in human lives derives from Hamas's heinous tactics of hiding behind civilians, their shooting of people trying to evacuate or receive assistance, and their rocket fire. Israel facilitated 2 million tons of food into Gaza while Hamas tries to sequestrate them, thereby creating hunger. Gaza's population has grown 450% in the last 50 years. There is no genocide there. Don't buy Hamas numbers, unquote. The Congress, stunned by the factual rebuttal, then went complaining to the Modi government, virtually asking it to stand up for Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Jairam Ramesh came out and said, quote, the Indian National Congress condemns the words used by Israel's ambassador to India in response to the pain and anguish expressed by Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, MP, on Israel's continuing genocide in Gaza. Is it too much to expect the Modi government, which has shown extreme moral cowardice when it comes to speaking out on Israel's destruction of Gaza over the past 18-20 months, to take serious exception and objection to the ambassador's response? We do, and find it totally unacceptable, unquote. Now, viewers, what does the Congress think? That the Indian government should jeopardize its ties with Israel for the sake of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra's pride and her petty political calculation? Isn't this the height of entitlement? The fact is that Vadra's attack is not born out of any real concern for human rights. How do we know this? Because first, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is selective in her advocacy. Has she ever, for instance, persistently called out Bangladesh or Pakistan for its xenophobia against Hindus? Maybe once or twice, viewers. Max, if that. Has she ever tweeted for Kashmiri Hindus saying that we need to set up trial courts expeditiously or probes? In fact, she was quiet when her husband Robert Vadra gave a virtual clean chit to Islamist terrorism in Pahalgam. Do you remember? The day after what he said. Second, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has sacrificed facts at the altar of political expediency, driven by the need to appease a vote bank both in Wayanad and Bihar. Let's be open and honest about this. Vadra has conveniently forgotten that Israel is a victim, that Hamas and Gazans share a goal, and that is to wipe out Israel from the face of the earth. That, viewers, is a genocidal intention, and it was in Hamas's, guess what, viewers? Manifesto, electoral manifesto, and Gazans voted for that, to wipe Israel off the map of this earth. cleanse that area from sea to river. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra forgets that Israel is a steadfast Indian ally against terror and Pakistan's genocidal anti-Indian outlook. I want to open this up and I want to ask some fundamental questions. Nikhil Jain, political analyst, is here with us. He's pro-Congress. Mr. Jain, is Priyanka Gandhi Vadra so forgetful and so entitled that A, she wants the Indian government to stand up for her, and B, she's forgetful, sir, that the Gazans voted for the Hamas. And do you know the Hamas charter, what it said at the time when the elections were held? That we will clean out Jews. We will clean out Jews. Their manifesto also said, their charter in fact said, please read it. If you don't believe me, the United Nations also took note and said that every Jew hiding behind a rock should be exterminated.
Rahul, is this a debate or a speech of yours? Can I please respond? You've asked me a bunch of questions. Let me please respond to them. I hope I get a minute because you leveled in way too many points. So first of all, let's all see that you are today standing with a foreign ambassador over an Indian member of parliament. We all always sing in one voice when we say that we may be fighting bitterly with each other, the BJP and the Congress in India, but once foreign nations are involved, we have to stand in a single voice. And 2 months ago, we saw all our MPs, including Congress MPs and other opposition MPs, saying the exact same thing that the government wanted them to say, while still criticizing the government at home. No Israeli ambassador has any business telling our MP, no matter which party, what to be talking about a certain thing, number one. Number two, please do not compare incidents of terror or state violence against people where hundreds of people or tens of people are affected against what is happening in Gaza right now. Gaza is part of a country called Palestine, a country with which we have diplomatic relations. India stands since the 1950s, continuing under the Modi government, is a two-state solution where Palestine and Israel exist as two separate countries. Hamas is a terrorist organization that controls most part of Palestine, most part of Gaza Strip. Do not tout them as some sort of elected, formally, democratically elected government. But what is happening in Gaza is a genocide, and it's not me saying that, it's the International Court of Justice. It is the UN Special Rapporteur on Food. It is the UN Special Rapporteur on Palestine-occupied territories. It is the Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, International Federation for Human Rights. It is the country of Ireland, Bolivia, Spain, Norway, Canada, Belgium.
Okay.
Everybody in the world can see what is happening. And last thing, Rahul, you are a very responsible journalist.
Yeah.
You have covered conflicts. And just yesterday, or I think day before, an entire team of Al Jazeera reporters who were not, who were not terrorists very clearly, they were assassinated by the Israelis. At least stand up for them. At least stand up for the children that are being starved. So what Priyanka Gandhi is saying is just something humanitarian.
You finished? I gave you one second. I gave you space. Now, just one quick intervention. He said you must stand up for the Indian MP because we all believe that we must express the government's point of view. Has the government viewers ever accused Israel of genocide? The Indian government? No. It is never accused. But Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is doing, so she's breaking the line. She's saying something that the Indian government isn't.
She's asking that
one second. This is a foreign policy
she's
issue.
Asking that domestically.
Mr. Jain, I didn't argue with you. I'm only bringing out a contradiction that you yourself have walked into. You said
that
we all, excuse me, Mr. Jain, you yourself have said we always echo what the government's position is on foreign policy. The government's position is not that Israel is committing genocide.
What I said was that Indians stand together. Congress.
That's right. So why isn't the Indian in Priyanka Gandhi Vadra standing with the Indian government that is refusing to term what Israel is doing a genocide? Would it not be expectation?
India and Indian government are two different things, my
friend.
friend.
Viewers, the Indian government is the expression of foreign policy in this country.
One of our MPs is demanding.
Okay, Mr. Jain, you're going to just keep speaking over me. There are three other people. You made your point. I'm not saying anything to you. I'm only pointing out an obvious contradiction. Anyhow, Xavier Rodriguez, go ahead. And I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan, Mr. Abbas. Yes.
Rahul, thank you for having invited me on the show. I had the unfortunate experience of being in Israel after October 7th. So I want to tell the viewers of one of the horrific aspects of some of the videos that we did see at that point of time. There was a young girl who was brutally assaulted and raped at the Noida Music Festival. She was nailed by her genitals to the ground and she was burnt alive. Okay? There were Hamas people that were all clothed in the Hamas terror outfits. And there were a lot of Palestinians who were also entered into Israel and conducted horrific activities, videos that this world has not seen. Few people are privy to it. The question here is very simple. Priyanka has been talking time and again about the Palestinian problem. And yes, the Palestinian is a problem. But the problem really is, how do you distinguish between the terrorist and the Palestinian when Palestinians themselves have given wings to the terror outfit, which is Hamas? Hamas, in its electoral, as you rightly said, wanted the eradication of Israel.
Yes.
So today, when those people were coming out, killing innocent people, shooting children, shooting people at that site, at the different sites that were there,
Yeah.
they were not looking at it as they were Israeli humans, were they? Has Priyanka Vadra asked about the hostages or ever demanded
Zero time.
about the hostages that are there even now?
Zero.
Has Priyanka Vadra spoken about Biba,
Zero.
the child that was killed?
Zero.
Has Priyanka Vadra spoken about the women
Zero.
that were raped?
Zero.
If October 7 never happened, the current situation would have never been there.
Zero.
Why is nobody
Never.
asking for accountability for the terrorist group Hamas?
I'll tell you why.
Why are they
Because
siding
because
with Palestine
because
alone?
Wayanad's vote bank and Bihar elections are around the corner.
This is
Doctor,
about humanity now.
let me bring in doctor.
This is about humanity.
Well, I'm sorry. If it was about humanity, then Priyanka Gandhi Vadra would have long time back spoken about Kashmiri
But she doesn't
Hindus.
care, that's the point.
Would have talked about, except for the one or two tweets she's made about Bangladeshis, Hindus. She would have talked about Sikhs in Pakistan. She would never have opposed the CAA, etc., etc. Dr. Ranganathan.
Rahul, a decade of knowing you, if there's anything that I know, it is that you don't need anybody to defend you. Be that as it may, because an allegation has been lodged against you by my very good friend Nikhil Jain, he is saying you are a journalist, Rahul. At least today support the Al Jazeera journalist who was murdered by Israel. This is the Al Jazeera journalist Al Sharif. Can you see him?
Yeah.
And who is he hugging? Can you see who he's
Oh
hugging?
my God, Sinwar.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
This is the story of this Sharif Al Jazeera journalist. He was on the payroll of Hamas
Oh
for
my
10
God.
years. He was getting salary from Hamas. Now, will Nikhil apologize, please, Nikhil?
It's like you're
Please
saying.
apologize.
It's like you're saying an Indian journalist hugging Hafiz Saeed.
That's right.
Oh
well,
my
there
God.
has been a case like that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, there has
that
been
this is
some
the
kind
truth.
of a. Yes, I don't
This
want to
is the
go there.
truth. And I am saddened today because Nikhil is normally very erudite and full of facts. But today, for him to muddle the situation just because he can save the skin of Priyanka Gandhi, who I should be thankful that she's not, carrying a jhola of Muridke or Bahawalpur, because Congress believes that the road to getting Muslims to vote for it is through this road that passes through the atrocities that are committed by terrorist organizations outside India. Now, as you've given ample proof, Hamas is a terror organization. Palestinians chose Hamas democratically. I'm just amazed that same Priyanka Gandhi has never brought in a jhola that shows the plight of 1.5 million Uyghur Muslims who are put in concentration camps by China, being fed pork and alcohol and forcibly sterilized. Why?
MOU.
Because that jhola comes from the MOU that Congress signed.
Anyhow, who knows? Mr. Abbas.
Can I come? Yeah.
Yes.
It's very interesting. My dear friend Anand Ranganathan, speaks of this incident. Anybody, any journalist with Hamas, I condemn them unconditionally, my friend. But let me tell you, the official figures of the United Nations front, right here in front of me, you can also Google it. Official website of United Nations. United Nations Secretary General Antonio condemned the killing of 6 Palestinian journalists in Gaza this past weekend. He also mentioned that these latest killings highlight the extreme risks journalists continue to face covering the ongoing war. Respected sir, you're showing one. There are several who have been killed. Now, next, to the point which Priyanka Gandhi said, CNN International News. I'm sure, Rahul Saab, you're aware of this. CNN News 18 is a part of it. This is the official news of CNN International. The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund on the social media said that the number of malnutrition cases amongst children in Gaza was staggering.
Yes, and that's why their
Nearly
mothers are fat.
12,000 children were
The children
identified
are
as
starving and the mothers
acutely
are fat.
malnourished. Just shut up, Savio. Just shut up. I did not speak.
You
English,
shut up.
please.
You
Please
shut up.
Okay, gentlemen,
shut
gentlemen.
up.
Don't use that kind of language.
Can you
Okay,
keep
lower
quiet?
everyone's
Can
faces.
you keep quiet?
Viewers, let me tell you, and we have so much faith in the United Nations, we have so much faith in all these great organizations except for our own government, viewers. Everyone here is talking about the United Nations as if the United Nations, if the United is such a great organization, viewers, why aren't we members of the United Nations Security Council for the first part? Just a first simple question. Clearly it's an unfair organization. But I want to tell you, viewers, that this gentleman, Antonio Guterres, talked about anti-Muslim genocides and bigotry happening here in India. Isn't it, Savio Rodriguez? Have we forgotten this? He talked about this. He talked about Kashmir, and especially after Article 370. Yet, viewers, he opposed India. He opposed India when we said we don't want Rohingyas. They said, no, you have to keep Rohingyas in your country. If India is so intolerant towards Muslims, why does the same United Nations get after us to say you must give shelter to Rohingyas? I've never understood this, viewers. If we are such bad communal people that we are killing Muslims as we see them, as the United Nations seems to have implied, then why do they want Rohingyas to be settled here? Dr. Ranganathan, can you explain to me? 30 seconds, please. Yeah.
No, I have one sentence. This is beyond science. I'm sorry, this cannot be explained. Look, the fact of the matter is, you saw Congress's own tall leaders, and Nikhil will corroborate me on this, Mr. Shashi Tharoor, Mr. Manish Tiwari, Mr. Salman Khurshid, they batted for India. And what happened? Where are they right now? Were they allowed to speak in the parliament? It's a simple yes or no question, Nikhil. Come on. Have the guts to answer it.
They are members of parliament. They are members of the Congress party.
Why didn't they speak on the motion? Operation Sindoor motion.
Should they be speaking? No, should they be speaking on every motion? Should they be talking about every debate?
Viewers, I'll leave it at this, because Shashi Tharoor is the head of the Standing Committee of Parliament on Foreign Affairs. If he's not going to speak on a motion concerning foreign affairs, then who will from the Congress? Rahul Gandhi.
Rahul, the contradictions in Dr. Tharoor's statements in the past.
I'll leave it at this, viewers. I'll leave it at this. You heard the Congress tie itself up in knots tonight. The hard facts were brought to you from the CNN News 18 primetime studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions. Vantage coming up.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
भारत के राष्ट्रपति को माननीय इलाहाबाद उच्च न्यायालय के वर्तमान न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा को न्यायाधीश जांच अधिनियम 1968 की धारा 3 के साथ भारत के संविधान के अनुच्छेद 124(4) के साथ पठित अनुच्छेद 217 और अनुच्छेद 218 के अंतर्गत उच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश के पद से हटाने के लिए एक समावेदन प्रस्तुत करने का प्रस्ताव है। ये सदन संकल्प करता है कि इलाहाबाद उच्च न्यायालय के न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा को उनके निम्नलिखित कदाचार के लिए पद से हटाने के लिए महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी को एक समावेदन प्रस्तुत किया जाए। दिल्ली उच्च न्यायालय के तत्कालीन न्यायाधीश न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा वर्तमान में इलाहाबाद उच्च न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश के सक्रिय और कब्जे में नई दिल्ली स्थित 30 तुगलक क्रिसेंट परिसर में आग लगने के कारण अस्पष्टीकृत नकदी की बरामदी के संबंध में भारत के सर्वोच्च न्यायालय द्वारा सार्वजनिक किया गया विवरण। हमें 15 मार्च 2025 की सुबह 30 तुगलक क्रिसेंट नई दिल्ली से जली हुई नकदी, धन, मलबे को हटाने के संबंध में साक्ष्य की भी जानकारी है। हमने न्यायाधीश जांच अधिनियम 1968 के सामान्य प्रावधान और विशेष रूप से उसकी धारा 3 के प्रावधानों का अध्ययन किया है और हमें उनके बारे में परिचित कराया गया है। हमने न्यायाधीश जांच अधिनियम 1969 के प्रावधानों का भी अध्ययन किया है। हमें उनके बारे में भी परिचित कराया गया है। हमने सी रविचंद्र अय्यर बनाम न्यायमूर्ति A.M. भट्टाचार्य एवं अन्य 1995 5 SCC 457 केस में भारत के उच्चतम न्यायालय द्वारा घोषित कानूनों के साथ साथ अतिरिक्त जिला एवं सत्र न्यायाधीश एक्स बनाम मध्य प्रदेश उच्च न्यायालय के मामले में दिए गए फैसलों से भी खुद को परिचित कर लिया है। 2015 4 SCC 91 और ये कि अतिरिक्त जिला एवं सत्र न्यायाधीश एक्स सुप्रभा के मामले में उक्त निर्णय को सामान्यता और विशेष रूप से पैरा 33 को पढ़ने पर ये स्पष्ट है कि दिल्ली उच्च न्यायालय के मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा के विरुद्ध शिकायत को गंभीर प्रकृति का पाया और उक्त निर्णय के पैरा 33 के तहत परिकल्पित इन हाउस प्रक्रिया का पालन किया। यह भी स्पष्ट है कि भारत के तत्कालीन मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने इस गंभीर एवं चौंकाने वाले घटना और तथ्यों पर विचार करने के बाद और न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा की प्रतिक्रिया तथा दिल्ली उच्च न्यायालय के मुख्य न्यायाधीश की टिप्पणियों को ध्यान में रखते हुए ये राय बनाई कि इस विषय पर गहन जांच आवश्यक है। इसलिए भारत के तत्कालीन मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने अतिरिक्त जिला एवं सत्र न्यायाधीश एस सुप्रा के मामले में निर्णय के पैरा 33(3) में परिकल्पना के अनुसार एक 3 सदस्यीय समिति का गठन किया गया। हमें यह भी याद है कि भारत के माननीय तत्कालीन मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने समिति की रिपोर्ट भारत के महामहिम राष्ट्रपति और भारत के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री को भेजी है। ये स्पष्ट है कि भारत के माननीय तत्कालीन मुख्य न्यायाधीश ने अतिरिक्त जिला एवं सत्र न्यायाधीश एस सुप्रा के मामले में फैसले के पैरा 33(7) के प्रावधानों के अनुसार कार्य किया है, जो स्पष्ट रूप से भारत के तत्कालीन मुख्य न्यायाधीश की राय को दर्शाता है कि पैरा 33(3) के तहत गठित समिति की रिपोर्ट में पाए गए आरोप इस प्रकृति के हैं कि उक्त न्यायाधीश को हटाने की कार्रवाई शुरू करने की आवश्यकता है। उपयुक्त तथ्यों के अवलोकन और सार्वजनिक रूप से उपलब्ध तथ्यों, न्यायमूर्ति यशवंत वर्मा के कब्जे वाले और उनके नियंत्रण में स्थित आधिकारिक परिसर से जली हुई नकदी की बरामदी और उसे हटाने से संबंधित परिस्थितियों की स्वतंत्र रूप से जांच करने के बाद हम स्वतंत्र रूप से ये भी पाते हैं कि भारत के संविधान के अनुच्छेद 124 के साथ पठित अनुच्छेद 217 और अनुच्छेद 218 के तहत हटाने की प्रक्रिया न्यायाधीश अधिनियम 1968 और उसके तहत बनाए गए नियमों के अनुसार शुरू की जानी चाहिए। बेदाग चरित्र और वित्तीय बौद्धिक ईमानदारी न्यायपालिका में एक आम आदमी द्वारा रखे गए विश्वास की नींव है और यह भी कि वर्तमान मामले से जुड़े तथ्य जो कि
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Taco Trump is back at it, giving China yet another tariff extension. So much for playing hardball. What explains Trump's weakness on China? We'll